Hi, it's Jessie. I'm back again, and I am going to try real hard to get through my words today because I tried to speak a word yesterday and it didn't work out so well for me. I looked at the storm, I got caught up in the storm, and I didn't speak to the storm. I was trying to describe the storm to everybody else, and it just didn't work for me, right? So today we're going to try and focus ourselves, right? Luke 23:27-29. Yes, I'm going to teach you about something Jesus said. He said, a large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. For the time will come when you will say, Blessed are the childless women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Okay, so what exactly is going on here, and what is he warning us about? Well, to see into the future, you have to kind of see into the past to know that it's been done. Otherwise, you'll be caught in this enchantment unless you understand that it's like a standard practice, right? So we go back 2,500 years before Jesus ever came, and there were these evil people who wanted to rule the world, and they basically said, if you bow to us, you can do whatever you want. Just bow to us, pay your tribute, and then you're free to do whatever you want. And so in the people's lawlessness, where they enjoyed the freedom to do all the sex they want, to do all the drinking they wanted, where they didn't have to work, so they pillaged, where they had no real structure, and their only enemy was not the government over them that was giving them permission, but their enemy was the people who had laws, who put up limits to their chaos and their rampage of lawlessness, okay? And so in response, these people, what they did was they attacked them by passing laws. Lawless people attacked lawful people by passing laws over them, you know? So what kind of laws did they pass? Well, no more reading Torah, right? What else? Oh, the doors have to come off, you know? So a man and a woman can no longer be intimate in a marriage in their own house because the doors have to come off. And there's no intimacy where you have an audience, okay? That's pornography, okay? So not only did they do that, but they made it so that in order for the women to marry, they had to spend the night with the governor. The governor was taking their virginity before he would allow them to marry someone else. Like on the night before their wedding, they had to spend the night with the governor. You know, these were laws that they passed. They this little bit is a little tricky to understand because the Bible will tell you that they hung the children around the mother's neck and executed them both. And so we can picture babies hanging from mothers' necks, right? But we also have to understand throughout time that evil empires have used children to spy on their parents, to attack their parents, to do things to their parents, okay? Make the child suffer, make the child turn lawless, you know, afflict them so much that they turn evil, because evil isn't born, it's made. It's the affliction that you put on someone that makes them eventually give up the light and turn to the other side, you know, broken vessels, right? So you turn this child, and the mother will die because of what you've done with the child, you know? When you kill the child, when the mother is powerless to do anything about what you're doing to this child, it breaks the mother in such a way that, you know, a mother can put up with a lot of things. They have childbirth, for goodness sake. Your body's ripped apart. There's more pain than you could ever imagine. I know, because I did it without drugs my first 2 times, right? I did it au natural, so I know the pain of childbirth, okay? A woman is able to withstand things for the love of a child. But when you use that child, when you twist that child's mind, when you turn them and make them think that, oh, this is okay to do so long as no one sees. What was that? Jesus said, don't say that no one will see. Don't say that no one will find out. Because this was the logic that they used back then, and especially on the child. So when we're using the child against the parent, when we're using, I'm giving kind of a long explanation of this one because it leads directly into this one, into the scripture that Jesus said, right? So when we use a child against a parent, we not only crush both spirits, right? We're turning the child evil. This is how an Absalom is created. This is how an Amnon is created. It's bad advice from the people sitting over you. And maybe you don't have a choice about sending your kids out there because the law states that you have to send your children to school, right? And you don't have a choice against it, right? And especially, oh man, they pull off so many tricks to keep their hands on your children. And meanwhile, while your children's while they're turning to the evil way, they're steady making the case that you're the evil one instead of it's their influence over the child, So in this, we see the parent is being afflicted in so many ways, and they're completely and totally, utterly powerless. But then with the child, I want you to understand something about this child, because while they're using the child, they might be lifting the child up. They might be, oppressing the child through the other children because they do work in armies, They keep their hands clean and get other people to do the dirty work. But they also might be puffing up the child with entitlement to make them to judge the world badly, to maybe make them judge their parents badly. So now that they're afflicted and they've turned, now the problem is not the whole scheme that they went through with their academic advisors, right, with their teachers. The scheme is not the problem, but rather the parent is the problem. And we're going to get the child to say the parent is the problem, because we're going to say, oh, look, they were a little depressed over here and they didn't do everything they could have done. They should have done this, 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 and they didn't. So obviously they're a bad parent. Never mind the fact that you depleted them of all their energy in this attack that you put on their child, and they put all their energy and prayer into covering the child, They put all their energy into taking care of a child. And when you're giving out more than you're getting in, you are bound to be depleted. And once you're depleted, your house may not be as clean as it once was. You may want to do takeout more often than, cook a meal, because also your children will not like the food that you cook anymore. They will lose a taste for it. Like I used to cook Polish food. I could cook łomkis, pierogies, kalachkis. I could cook so much good Polish food. Potato pancakes, My children will not touch this stuff. They won't. They tell me it's disgusting. Why? Because somebody got in there and toyed with their mind and told them the food is bad. It's disgusting. Don't eat that. Somebody got in there and toyed with their mind. So what the things that I used to be able to do for them, I can't do for them, not because I don't want to, but because they reject it from me. My daughter, she doesn't even eat red meat anymore. It's pretty much ridiculous with the things that I'm able to cook for the children that have been turned against me. But, when you don't like someone, everything they do is offensive. I could buy her a gift and I don't want that. That doesn't go with my room. Never mind that your mother loves you enough to think about you, They turn children in such a way that they're not able to respond to their parent the right way anymore, or the world. So yeah, that child is bound to die. And I don't curse my children for having gone through this, because I understand that these people over there have toyed with them. I understand what they have done with them. And when I look back through history, I can recognize, oh, I know what they did and I know how they did it, because they're still doing it today. And here we have Jesus saying, weep for your children. Here we have Jesus saying, weep, not for me, but for your children. So the Messiah knew what they were doing and he didn't put an end to them. He just said, cry for it. I have a problem with that personally. I have a problem with that. And I have a problem with that on so many levels. I can't tell you. Outside of the church, and I have a degree in psychology. I got a bachelor's degree. I have a master's in social work. I have about half a divinity degree. So I understand the way various systems work, right? I understand how people work, right? And I can tell you that people making cases on children is illegal. They might do it in the back, behind closed door, on the sly, where they think nobody can see them, and if anybody sees them, we'll just blame the mother. Freud, he gives some excellent advice for that. Everything's the mother's fault, right? But here's the thing. In a court of law, you cannot even have a child to testify unless extreme precaution is taken, and it's absolutely positively necessary. Like, let's say the person that's on trial had murdered their sibling, right, in front of them, right? Then in that kind of case, a child could testify. But in like ordinary, like, let's say someone wanted to give the mother something free and then accuse her of stealing and then come back and teach the children that mom's a scam artist. Maybe somebody wanted to give mom disability benefits and then they want to come back and convince the children mom is faking. There's nothing wrong with mom. Mom doesn't have any friends. Mom stays by herself. Mom is more happy by myself than out in the world. And you could say that makes me an introvert, or you could understand that the world pains me so because I can feel things through it. And I don't like to feel the pain that's out in the world. I don't like to be afflicted with other people's sins so much, Do not explain my narrative to my children and twist their logic so that they hate me. Because who's going to step in to raise them, right? This is the reason why we don't allow children in court cases. This is the reason why a wise nation grew from those days where they recognized that, hey, evil nations exploit children. The Russians did it. Well, I should say the Soviet Union, USSR. They did it, Germans did it, Greeks did it, Assyrians did it. You go back all throughout history, and you always find that these are the nations that did it. But what you also find is that these nations, when they did this, they soon met their end afterwards. They soon met their end afterwards. Why? Because this is the kind of thing that God will bring judgment on a nation for, that God will destroy a nation for. So Jesus, what the heck are you saying when you tell people just weep for your children? No, don't tell them that nonsense. Tell them God will obliterate them. God will rain hellfire on them. Tell them of the world that they are creating. Tell them you get that they want power, but the power that they're taking is coming at the cost of the community, of the family. Everything is divided. And I get that Jesus said he said he came to divide the house. But here's the problem. When you divide the house, when you set a child against their parent, that child is cursed, because that commandment that God gave to Moses said, honor thy mother and father, right? When you break that commandment, you are cursed for life. So now you have a wild out child. And guess what this wild out child is going to do? Maybe they don't see anything that happened to them. Maybe their parents don't have the eyes to see what they happened to them. But this child that experienced life with the oppression of its peers and the pressure of its teacher on top of them, and looking at them, with them all coming down on them, telling them that they're bad, their family's bad, they're bad for loving their family. They cannot be a part of them unless they switch sides and condemn their parents. This whole scenario that you got getting here, when that child grows up, maybe that child doesn't want to be in the world because you've showed them a world that is like Nazi Germany. You've shown them utter evil. And they don't want to be in this nonsense. So guess what they do? They grow up a little bit. They find themselves a weapon and they go re-enter your place of business, and they don't care if it's a different population. They don't care if it's not the same teacher. They don't care if it's not the same kids, because this is the system that attacked them when they were small. And though they don't have the words to explain it, they want to retaliate against it. So are you really sure that what you're doing has no consequences, that it's not going to come back out on you? Because I don't care what you say. When I look at the world and I see these school shooters, I understand what you put on them when they were small, when they were in kindergarten, when they were babies, when they couldn't fight for themselves, when their parents couldn't fight for them, when they had no help, when they had no one to turn to. I understand what they went through because you did it to me. So weep, because let hellfire rain down on you. You know, that's the end of things right there. That's the end of things right there. And if you think I'm suffering from church hurt, I'm suffering from a lot more than that. You let this stuff go, and I have to deal with it. My children have to deal with it. And it's been going on for 2,500 years, and 2,500 years is too long. Do you get what I'm saying? It's enough of this nonsense where you pretend like, oh, we're the solution to all the problems of the world. We need more counselors. We need more teachers. We need more doctors. We need more psychologists. No, you need more law. You need to understand limits. You need to know that your actions have consequences, and you're eventually going to see those consequences. If not directly, then out in the world where you are scared to death to do your job because some young kid is going to come in with a gun and shoot you up, and now you want some metal detectors in the school. BS. You caused this. You brought this on yourself. You want to know what God's hellfire looks like? He tells people, ready your weapons. Those that you put out of society, that you cut off into the world, he tells them, ready your weapons. Go back and hit that system and let them know that they're not invisible. Let them know that they're not untouchable. Now, this comes at the expense of our children. So, yeah, I have a problem with this still. That you're still making the same bad decisions when you could really just change your mind. You don't have to be so damn evil all the time. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make any sense to you? When you say the name of Jesus, call on Jesus, I want you to fix this mess first before you tell me. Because he also said, the kingdom of God is in our hands. So it is for us to fix it. And if you haven't been telling people, hey, this is what the enemy did before he came, this is what the enemy did while he came, this is what the enemy is going to be doing for all times, and it is our job, our responsibility to shut them down and tell them no. The enemy is always at the gates. Where's the gates? The schools, the doctors, the middleman between the people and the government, the police, the social workers, the psychologists. The enemy is always at the gates. And you cannot support the gates without giving the gates limits. You do not do this kind of stuff. You don't. It's not right. It's not fair. It brings the judgment of God on a nation. It comes at the price of our children, if not right now, years from now. It needs to end. It needs to stop. You are what's wrong in the world. And you can't tell me that, this 24-hour negative news cycle feeds people. Because it's more than that. This whole system is all connected. It's a damn seven-headed beast. If you think one branch operates independently of the other, you are wrong. It's a whole system built to take the power from the people, built to make the people think other things are the problem, point the fingers other ways, so that they can keep doing what they're doing because they get fat off it. But meanwhile, the whole world is suffering, and we're putting these people in power through our own judgment, elections, and we're like, enough. Enough. If we're going to put them up there, put limits on them. Say, we're not going to weep anymore. We're not going to weep anymore because we're going to fix the problem. We're not going to weep anymore because we're going to give our gates that don't protect them. We're going to hold them accountable for how they respond. And if they don't respond right, we're going to tear down that law that says we got to send our kids to school because we are sending our kids into a war. And we maybe don't understand this, but it is a war against the people to bring them into submission, to bring them into oppression, to bring them, to indoctrinate them into being docile little couch potatoes that look at problems out in the world and say, oh, that's for someone else to fix. Our government's got it under control. Your government's the one causing it. The experts, they recycle their theories and kill theories to, survive their consequences. They wait a few years, they bring back the same misogynistic, oppressive theories that enable them to do what they do to the world. But trust the experts by all means. Trust the doctor, even though the doctors may be gaslighting you and telling you you're not sick when you are sick, or telling you that you are sick when you don't have this sickness. And maybe they're poisoning you, and maybe they're doing a lot of things to you. But obviously trust the doctor, because the doctor has all the answers. Never mind what the doctor says and does. The doctor's to be trusted, you're the evil one. No, we need to fix this stuff. Our gates need gates. The world is out of control. You want to fix the school shooting problem? Fix the gates. Don't tell me to weep. Fix the gates. Stop your ways, or face the judgment of God. That's my word for you. That's my word for you. You might not understand because you're looking for a message of hope and salvation from me. But that storm, it crushes me in such a way that I understand that there's no way out of it. I understand there's no one coming to save me. I understand that anyone who even thinks of helping me, they're going to twist against me and pierce me with them. They're going to use my help to bring me back into their submission by pretending that, oh, they love me. Oh, they're on my side. Oh, it wasn't them. It was somebody else who lied to them. But each and every one of these people let their filter go and did something outside of their purpose to operate on an agenda that impacted the health, welfare, and safety of a child while pretending to be acting in that child's best interest. Can I say hypocrites? One day, we will change, or we will all die. And that is the way that it goes. We will bring our own end. We have to choose the people that we want to be. We have to choose what we're going to tolerate. We have to choose the people that we're going to put our trust in. We have to choose what we're going to tolerate from the people we put our trust in. We have to be responsible for what happens in our lives and in the world, because the world has a direct impact on our lives. And we have to look at things and understand that it is our obligation to make the world a better place, to leave it better than we found it. So I don't come here with a sword to cut you down, even though I deliver a strong rebuke. I come here with an offer to change, to be different, to say, I trusted the experts and they lied to me. I trusted them and I allowed them to weaponize me. And I was wrong. I did wrong. And I don't want to be used like that again, because I understand that my actions have consequences. And though you may not see it right now, in a few years when some little kid comes in and shoots the teacher, you understand it. Your actions have consequences. Don't make yourself the enemy just because you think you're invisible. Let us choose a different way. Let us return children to their parents, because we don't want a bunch of cursed people walking around the world. They cause a lot of drama and a lot of chaos. You can't tell a person who doesn't care for their life, who doesn't care if they die because God puts them on that suicidal path. You cannot tell them to do right because they don't care. They want to see the world end. So let's fix that problem before that problem grows and grows and grows into something you can't fix anymore, and that person is just doomed for death. And let's not have the whole world follow behind them. Let's understand that it is within our choice to acknowledge where we have been wrong. And then if we acknowledge where we went wrong, then maybe that hurt person who hated their parents for their entire adolescence, maybe that hurt person will resolve their anger and realize that, hey, these teachers weren't so great. They lied to me. My mom tried. She tried every day. She loved me. She put up with me. She stood by me. She defended me when I was wrong. That woman loved me. And how dare I treat her like that? And maybe he'll say, Mama, I'm sorry. And maybe my son's not the only one who needs that kind of healing, to know what went wrong, where it went wrong, instead of just wandering through life broken. Because there's a blessing in honoring your parents. There's a curse in coming against them. Do not weaponize children. You don't want to deal with the world that you're going to create when you do. And besides the fact, you can't use them in a court case. It's illegal. Stay in your lane. If you don't know your law, you're bound to be exploited by ignorant people who don't care about the damage that they cause. They're only on an agenda to, like the devil, hurt, kill, destroy. Don't give evil your hands. Why does why is it so big in the world? It's so big in the world because it survives by corrupting others. Not necessarily by afflicting them, but rather by using their hands. All evil needs is a good set of hands to do the work for them. It's all they need. They don't want people like them, because they know people like them can't be trusted, and they know people like them are sloppy. People like them are going to get caught. So they're going to use the righteous people to do their bidding. Stay in your lane. Know your purpose. You're there as a trusted professional to protect children, to teach children, to help them to grow up into productive human beings. Stick on purpose. Don't get outside your lane and think that you run the justice system, because that is a shadow justice system. That is something you don't want to be a part of, because sometimes people lie. Sometimes people weaponize the government. Sometimes people weaponize each other, and it's best to not be involved in that. It's best not to. Yeah, I encourage people that if you got a hard time with somebody, walk away from them. Leave them behind. Get as far away as you can. Because evil doesn't fight you one-on-one. It fights you through everyone around you. And it's a bigger battle than you can take on. It's a waste of your life. It's a waste of your breath to put forth the effort. It is far better to encourage people to turn away from evil rather than serve it yourself. And I kind of guess that's what I'm doing here. All right, y'all have a good day. God bless.